Hello and welcome. I hope you guys had a great week. Today I thought I would do a really in-depth video about the things that I've been applying as I've been reading some Neville Goddard books. If you don't know who Neville Goddard is, definitely do some research on him. He has some amazing work about the power of imagination, the power of our brains, our feelings to help us in creating a more positive reality. So about maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago, and on my TikTok channel, I break down Neville Goddard books. So, I've been using law of attraction and law of assumption techniques for a while now. And I started reading Awakened Imagination by Neville Goddard. That's the most recent book that I've been breaking down. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm really going to apply this stuff that I'm finding out as I go through the book. And so in this book, Neville essentially talks about how powerful our imagination is, and that he talks about how he was able to essentially visualize himself in his father's house in Barbados, and he ended up getting a ticket there for free and being able to visit with his family for the holidays. When he started this process, he didn't have any money. So he wanted to be there, but he had no idea how he was going to get there. And essentially what he did, he didn't physically do anything. He imagined himself in his father's house every night as he was falling asleep. And then things worked out and he was able to go and experience what he was imagining. So I thought to myself, this doesn't seem like it can hurt to try. I have had some awesomely wonderful results. So I have decided that I was going to try to bring in a relationship. And every night when I'm falling asleep, I have been imagining myself doing things that I would do if I were in a relationship, while also feeling what I would be feeling if I were physically experiencing this in my outer world. So, example, I will imagine myself laying my head on, someone's chest, and we're laughing together and just having a really great time and feeling really loved and joyful. Or I imagine myself having coffee and holding someone's hand and just saying really sweet things. And I really allow myself to get in there and feel and imagine as much as I can. And I don't stress too much if I can't get a really good visual. And if my mind wanders, I just bring it right back to where I was. And I do several mini scenes, so I'm not just focusing on one scene. And I definitely have seen results in my outer world. I have been getting more attention. I have definitely seen people reacting towards me in a completely different and more loving way than they had in the past, getting more communication, etc., etc. So I thought I would share with you guys a little bit more in depth as to how exactly you can also apply this technique. Before you start the technique, you need to buy into the process and let yourself believe that this can work for you, because it can. And another thing that you want to do is persist in doing this. And what that means is do it over and over again. Our subconscious learns by repetition. And what we're trying to do here is impress our subconscious minds to say like, oh, we have this. And then we will physically be brought to our manifestation. You also want to let go of how you're going to get there. So for me, manifesting a relationship, obviously, I don't know how I'm going to get into this relationship, but I'm still imagining myself in it already. I'm not imagining steps I'm going to take to physically get there. I'm imagining myself already in a relationship. You also don't want to focus too much on like, overthinking it as you're running through your day to day. So I do this method as I'm falling asleep, and then I wake up and I go about my day as normal. If I start thinking about, oh, I wish I was in a relationship, I start imagining myself in a relationship kind of as I'm walking around and just letting myself feeling those good feelings that I can have. So here's what to do in order to apply this technique. And this is what I've been doing. It's worked for me amazingly. So the first thing is, what do you want? What are you trying to bring in? Okay, what are you trying to bring in a relationship? More abundance? Is there a car you want? A house you want? Get clear. What do you want? Okay. Second thing, if you had that thing right now, what would you be doing? Right now, we're just thinking about it. We're brainstorming. What kinds of things would you be doing if you had your relationship? I gave you guys a couple of examples of things I know I would be doing. And make sure that they're things that you actually would be doing, not things that seem like off the wall. Like, I would never imagine myself in a relationship at a club because I don't go to clubs, okay? So just to give you an example. But I would imagine myself with my head on someone's lap while they're playing video games because that's totally something I would do, all right? That's what I mean by like things you would actually be doing, okay? So come up with a couple different things. The next thing is really think about how you would feel. If right now you were experiencing this thing you really want, what types of feelings would you have? Would you feel joy? Would you feel loved? Would you feel free? Would you feel relieved? Okay, really thinking about it and bringing that up in your body. Because if you say to yourself right now, you know, self, Emily, I bring up the feeling of love. I get a sensation in my body. So try that out and see how that works for you. So this has been kind of like setting up an outline for how we're actually going to apply this into our evening. So you've got what you want, you've got what you'll experience, and you've got how you'll feel. So this is how you're going to actually apply it. As you are drifting off, you get in bed, you're comfy, you're cozy, you start imagining these scenes, okay? You want to experience them from your own eyes. So when I'm imagining myself in somebody's arms, it's like I am physically there. It's like I am the actor in my own movie. I'm not seeing myself doing these things. I am immersing myself in the action. So you want to run through some of your imaginal acts as if you are there, experiencing it. Get as deep as you can, but don't stress out if you cannot get super deep, okay? You also want to try to feel the feeling you would be experiencing as you're doing the action. So if I'm imagining myself in someone's arms, I'm feeling very loved, adored, etc. And that's basically what you want to keep running through as you are falling asleep. At first, it can feel very forced because you're doing something new with your mind that it's not used to. But as you progress and persist in doing this, it gets easier and easier. So don't just give up just because it feels like uncomfortable. And your mind's going to wander, and that's okay. All you have to do is, if you notice your mind wandering, just bring it back to the act. Don't get angry. Don't get frustrated. Just be really gentle and compassionate and just be like, okay, well, I'm over here thinking about XYZ. Let me come back to this thing that I want to think about. Try that for a while. I've been doing this for 2 weeks and it has worked amazingly. I feel great. I'm seeing, evidence that it's working out in my outer reality. And other than that, it's just really fun to do. We spend our days imagining crappy stuff happening to us all the time. Why don't we flip the script on that? See what it's like to imagine really awesome things happening to us. And I have found by my own experience that doing this has completely shifted my mood. So I hope you guys try it. Comment below if you do. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Again, do not worry about the how of your manifestation and don't try to look for evidence. The thing that I've noticed is when I look for evidence, I'm anxious. When I'm not looking for evidence, I'll go back about my day and be like, oh my gosh, like I just saw evidence. And like, I'm not stressed, like trying to find it. It just comes. You'll know when you see it in your outer reality. Like, you're going to know that it's like your manifestation showing itself in little bits and pieces. So I hope you love it. I hope you try it. And I know it can work for you.